Great dates usually mean great dinners with great conversation, but whatever happened to the art of just holding a good old-fashioned good conversation around the dinner table? We can probably blame all the texting and the emailing of today, but what else could be causing a touch of indigestion in our dating and our dining conversations? Well, Better's relationship expert and author of The Man Plan, Whitney Casey, sat down with healthy living expert Cindi Avila, and they are giving us some food for thought.
All right, thanks, Audra. Okay, so this is true. We've got to bring it back to we've got to bring dinner conversations back. Not only like for your family, but for your sex life.
Growing up, we sat down around the table and always talked with our families and everything. And then once you start dating, you're always sitting there talking and you're engaged in conversation. What happened to that? I know a few things that happened. Technology, texting, BlackBerry. I know my husband is a major offender of all that. And so sometimes we go out to eat. You want to have a romantic night. Next thing you know, he's talking to his iPhone and not to you. So you definitely want to bring it back, and it's at home too. And so I have some tips for doing that at home. A lot of people bury their nose in a cookbook, which is also very you're doing that by yourself while your husband's out watching TV or something. So you want to do quick meals so you can get right to the conversation. You want to leave a lot more time for conversation. So I made these meals real quick with stuff that I had around my house. I made a quick quesadilla. People, this takes you a couple minutes. People think that they need to make some elaborate Mexican dish. People love quesadillas. Add a little guacamole. You dip it in the guacamole. It's really like fun and interactive with your loved one.
So what about cooking together though? That whole feeling of like he takes part of the list, you take part of the list. And,
in theory, it sounds great, except we know most of our men don't cook, so you have to find other ways around that.
They can chop. That's what I'm saying. They can chop.
I know my husband won't be chopping anytime soon.
Okay, well, so if they're not cooking with you, isn't it a great thing though? Isn't it a passionate thing? Food is a passionate thing. People are passionate about food. So if you're bringing, two people together to be in a passionate, wonderful dialogue, isn't it better to like talk about the food? These aphrodisiac type foods, like, oh, I love this food, or this is rather than the to-do list for the day.
It's always great, and that's why it's always nice to make a good pasta. Pasta is really romantic. There's something like the Lady in the Tramp scene that brings it all back. So there's soming about pasta that, and the colors.
How long did it take you to make this, though? Because it looks beautiful.
This literally took me about 15 to 20 minutes to make. And one of my secrets, one of the shortcuts, is that I cook vegetarian, so I don't need to cook the meat, the protein, as long because I use the Light Life Smart Sausage.
And your husband finds that romantic, not eating meat?
He's fine with it, because you know what else is romantic is doing what your partner likes. If they like to eat something, it's fun to eat together. You go out to restaurants, you're eating something, you order sushi. These days you could order sushi and I could be getting Mexican food at the same restaurant. Not always as much fun as like partaking in the same meals and sharing your meal. Another thing, by the way, is turning off the TV. I'm a huge offender of this also. We put the TV on, we watch TV while we're eating, so there's no conversation. So it's get rid of the technology and get back to,
Or I have a present for you. This is actually going to be your Christmas present, but I love this one. This is a whole thing about questions you can ask your partner. So they can, and this one, because you're a chef, is a gourmand edition, but I love it. You can ask questions like, what's your favorite meal you've ever cooked? What's the favorite meal we've ever had together as a couple? What's the most romantic meal we had together? I love it. There's like thousands of these in here. So,
and that's great because we think, we have a lot to talk about, but then you sit down at a table and you realize there's blank space and you're not talking. So this is good for romantic, for parties, for everything.
I want you to ask Mike this, that's her husband. What's the most impressive meal I've ever cooked for you? And that's a question that you're going to ask him. But Cindi, thank you so much for being here. I want to know the answer, and I'm sure Audra does too.
And the recipes are on lightlife.com, by the way.
Okay, go to Lightlife to see those recipes. Audra, back to you.
Yeah, that could be very interesting. Thanks a lot, ladies. We'll be right back.